Welcome to the SwimSwam podcast. I'm your host, Coleman Hodges. Joining me today, I've got a very special guest. He is a 3-time world champion, a 4-time European champion. He's one of the fastest breaststrokers in history, and he just ended this ISL season as the #1 ranked swimmer in the 200-meter breaststroke. We've got Marco Koch today. Marco, how's it going, man?
Thank you for having me. I'm really good. Thank you.
Met you last in ISL season 1 on the New York Breakers. I'd heard your name for years and years. You've been a prominent breaststroker in the sport for a long time, and it was an honor to meet you. And then I did meet you, and I'm like, this dude's you're very relaxed. You're very easy to be around. It's not always what you expect from an elite athlete like yourself.
Yeah, thank you. But I always feel like I'm very down to earth because of my surroundings, my family, and everyone. So yeah,
that's interesting. I certainly want to get into that probably in a little bit, but I want to start with the here and now, right? You said that Germany's in the restaurants are shut down and everything, but you're still able to train. Take me through, since you've gotten back from ISL. What's your situation been like in terms of just your day-to-day life?
Yeah, the first few days after coming back from Budapest, I was taking a small break because I had some problems with my groin during the competitions. So I just wanted to take care of it and start back training when everything is like healed. And now I'm training just normally 8-9 times a week, 2 times on the trainer, on my bike, and 3 times in the gym.
Oh man, that's a lot. So, I mean, you, from the outside, you had a phenomenal ISL season. You went 200 in the tuner breast 2 or 3 times, I think.
Yeah, 2 times.
Okay. You were 201 another handful of times, but it's like coming into that season, not having raced a whole lot. How are you feeling about what you thought you could do?
Before the first match, I was really, really nervous because my last real competition was back in January. So we didn't race for like 9 months or even 10 months. So I was really nervous because I didn't know what to expect. Because I feel, especially in breaststroke and on short course, there's so many things that can go wrong during a race. So my training was going pretty good so far, but I was just nervous and just like ready to compete again. And when I started the first match with a 202.3 or something, then I felt that I'm in a really good spot and I can bring the time down even further. And then in the second match, I could break the 2001. So I went 200.8, I think, and still with some room to improve. But after the third match, I got some problems with my groin. So yeah, I couldn't do too much breaststroke. But I think it was still a really consistent and really good effort for me. So I'm really happy to be in that shape that I am right now.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Before I get more into that ISL season, take me through that 9 or 10 months out of racing. Were you still able to train for a lot of that period? Were you out of the pool for a long time? What did it look like, once COVID really started affecting everyone globally in March?
Yeah, I came back from a training camp in March and we wanted to start with all the competitions going on. And then 2 or 3 days later, everything basically shut down. And I wasn't able to go back to the pool then. So I didn't train the whole April and some weeks in May. And then I was able to train, I think, after 6 weeks again, but just once a day, 5 times a week. And I think, I started to get back into my normal routine with 8 or 9 sessions a week in end of July. So I think I swim as little as I can't even remember for this year, but I found cycling for myself. So I cycled a lot, and I really feel like it improved a lot of my endurance in the water. So I keep 2 sessions on the bike a week now, because I really feel that it's helping, especially my kick and the breaststroke. So in some ways, COVID did something good for me, because I think otherwise I wouldn't have started cycling.
Yeah, I think a lot of us picked up cycling, right? I mean, that was one of the only options, and especially for swimmers, running is not always so friendly.
Yeah, I tried it, but yeah, the impact on my bones is a little bit too much.
It can be a lot. And so, I mean, emotionally, what was that period like for you? I mean, I know personally, I went through a lot of ups and downs, and I wasn't even training for to race at the highest level. What was that like for you?
Yeah, the beginning was really difficult, because back then we didn't know what's happening with the Olympics. So they were not postponed. I was sitting at home, not able to train. So it was a really bad feeling. But when the Olympics got postponed by 1 year, I thought I have an early summer break. So I just took my break a little bit early and started back training when it was possible. So I wasn't feeling too bad, but just training to train is not something I like. So I always need a goal to work towards. So it was pretty difficult for me to keep the motivation up to train, like, I don't know, in total, like almost 30 hours a week, and not have any competitions in sight. So yeah, that was pretty difficult, because in Germany there's basically non-competitions now, and I think they're going to continue like this, I don't know, maybe until March, April. Yeah, so that was pretty tough for me.
I mean, that is a long time. When did you find out that ISL would be a possibility, and did that kind of become that goal, what you were training for next?
Yeah, I can't remember exactly when I found out, but afterwards I was talking to my coach, and he was like, it's a perfect opportunity to get a lot of races in, to work towards a goal this year. And yeah, so I tried to start out with a really, really good shape, because I think last year I started out not too fast in the first meet, and then I could come down a little bit. But this year I wanted to start out really strong and then keep improving. Yeah, and it worked pretty good. We're just so excited to finally have some racing.
Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine what that's like to not have the races and then to have a bunch of them. I'm sure that was a big thrill for a lot of athletes. Certainly someone like you who needs that motivation. I don't see how you couldn't, but so I had, sorry, I'm blanking a little bit. I had a question, and it was I don't remember specifically, but you train by yourself a lot. Is that right?
I'm basically in my own swimming group, so I got my own lane, and most of the time it's just me, myself, and I, and just one coach just looking at what I do. So on one point, it's a blessing that the coach is just looking at me, but on the other hand, sometimes on the bad days, it's getting pretty tough.
Yeah. How long has that been your training setup?
Basically since last Christmas. I changed coaches one more time, because I wasn't feeling that with my old coach that the direction we were going was the direction that I wanted to train like. So I changed back to my former coach and former national coach of Germany, Dirk Lange. I was working with him from 2010 to 2012, and after that always just for like training camps and stuff. So we always stayed in contact, and I asked him if he wanted to do the next step with me towards the Olympics. And yeah, really enjoyed to work with him again. But on the other hand, just training by myself with no partner every day sometimes gets a little tough. But I went to his place in Austria this year for 2 weeks, and I could bring Erik Persson from Sweden. So we did a little breaststroke camp together. Yeah.
And so during COVID, when you were able to train again, in July, was that easier for you to get back in? Was that harder for you? I mean, just thinking from, I'm assuming you didn't see a whole lot of people during, that spring and that summer. And so was it easier to get back into training being used to swimming by yourself, or was it a little harder not having people again?
For me, it was okay. I was just happy to be able to train again and go back to like a little bit kind of normal life, to get my routines back. That's helping a lot, just to get the routines, to have the normal daily flow. Yeah.
So what do you enjoy about just training by yourself?
Just to focus on myself. I think if I would have someone always next to me, sometimes I would do stuff maybe a little bit too hard on the easy days, or maybe if I feel good, I would just slow down a little just to stick to the guys next to me on the easy days. So it's really good to just focus on yourself and your own body and your feeling, to just do what's just right in that moment.
That's an interesting perspective. That's cool. So, sorry, I'm all over the place. So let's get you. You find out you're going to ISL. You get to ISL. You're feeling good. Take me through those off days when you're not racing. What was it like being in the bubble? What was it like training? I mean, were you training by yourself there as well, or were you hopping in with practices from with different athletes?
We were doing a few team sessions together with some really takeovers and stuff, but most of the time I was doing my programs, because we like really prepared for the ISL events, and I didn't want to like mix things up right before the competitions. And yeah, so I wasn't training that much because I just wanted to get fast times in the pool, and I'm not the youngest anymore, so I needed a lot of rest. And yeah, I really enjoyed the bubble for like the first 3 weeks, but afterwards it was getting kind of tough because you got so much spare time and always like distancing yourself and taking care. So the only time I went outside was for the 90 minutes. So I always tried to walk around the island, get some fresh air. But other than that, it was basically just Netflix and relaxing.
Yeah, I mean, did you have a lot of isolation like that during COVID before the bubble? How was emotionally, was that kind of hard, and did the injury kind of hurt you mentally in terms of, of having all that spare time?
Yeah, I think at the end it was getting really tough, like really, really tough, because we just have that one hotel room where you're in most of the time. Of course, we did some team activities together, but not nearly as much as last year. So being away from your normal environment at home and just, by yourself most of the time was quite a long time at the end. So I was really looking forward to going home on the last few days.
Makes sense. I mean, that's a long, I think a lot of the athletes I talked to were like, yeah, it's like, that's, I had a good time. I really enjoyed the bubble, but that's a long time to be away from home.
Yeah.
So you get home, you're back in your home environment. Tell me about your home environment. What makes it so special? What keeps it so grounded for you?
I think it's mostly just my family and friends that are here. Of course, I can like see everyone right now because of COVID and the isolation and the lockdown, but just makes me feel at home, just with the environment. And also the few days I could take off after the bubble. I was cycling a lot. The weather was still okay, not too cold here in Germany. So I was could just do what I enjoy outside of the pool.
Yeah.
And also cook my own food, because the food in Budapest was pretty good, but after 5 weeks in a hotel, like everything tastes the same, So I was really looking forward to make my own food again.
What's your own food? What do you like eating?
I had like a big ass salad with a lot of vegetables and chicken. It was really, really good.
Nice. Oh, that sounds great. And so I want to take it back in history a little bit. You said your family keeps you grounded, your friends, your home keeps you grounded. How did you come up in swimming in Germany? And do you feel like they kind of kept you grounded during your upcoming in the sport?
Yeah, I started swimming because of my older brother. He went for practice, and I always had to wait till he's finished so we could go back home. And at one point I was like, maybe instead of waiting, I should try it out. And then I started swimming, and swimming was the only thing that could keep me motivated. Other than that, if I started something new, if I tried something new, if I got like new toys or whatever, after a few hours, I was always like doing something different because it got me boring. Yeah, swimming is the only thing that I could stick to for like 22 years now. So yeah, and I still really enjoy it. So yeah, it's just my sport. I don't know why.
What kept you motivated about it? What about swimming, kept dangling that carrot in front of you, kept you wanting more?
Good question. I think it's just when I jump in the water, it feels just like my happy place, or I don't know how to describe it. I'm just by myself. I can't hear the shit that is going on outside. The coach can yell and whatever. I don't hear it. I'm just in the water enjoying myself. So I think it's just the environment.
Yeah. When you started swimming, were you on a big team, or was it just a few people?
Yeah, we started out in a really small club. We could just go for practice like 2 or 3 times a week. And when my mom saw that we really enjoyed it and we got better, so we moved to a bigger club. And after that, we moved again to an even bigger club. And since then, I'm basically here in the area of Frankfurt training. Yeah. So my mom did a lot for us, just moving because of swimming and everything. So yeah.
I mean, so that sounds like your parents were on board with swimming. Did you feel supported by them? Were they like, you have to do well, or was it more of a, if you like it, keep doing it?
Yeah, it was always like, if we like it, we can do it. If we don't like it anymore, we don't have to. And when I hit puberty and everything, the days where you don't want to do anything. But my mom could figure out when there was just a day where I was lazy, or if I really don't want to do it. So she pushed a little bit in the right direction, but only on the days where she knew she had to.
And so when you were younger like that, what was your training schedule? Were you still 8 or 9 times in the pool?
No, I didn't do the practice before school, so I was just training like 6 or 7 times a week. So maybe twice on Saturday. Sunday was always off, and once on the other days. Maybe 2 gym sessions a week, but not too much. Yeah.
Nice. And so when was there an aha moment for you, or something, a meet, a practice where you kind of felt like, oh, hey, I could be pretty good at this?
I don't know that moment, but I always felt like I can do really, really good. I don't know. I always had like a spreadsheet where I would write out my times and calculate how I need to improve to be like top tier in Germany and everything. Maybe a bit crazy, but somehow it worked out. And I think in my second year of the European Junior Championships, when I won the 200, got second in the 100 and third in the 50, I knew that I'm not too bad at swimming. So yeah.
That seems like were you always a breaststroker?
I think so, yes. Of course, I also did like the other strokes and a lot of IM, but breaststroke was always my best stroke. And it was also the first stroke that I was able to swim. So when I started swimming, breaststroke was the only thing I could do. Yeah. Always not too good on the back.
That makes sense. But that's so if I've read this right, you're the German record holder in the 400 IM short course, right?
Yeah, but that's not because of my swimming technique. It's just because of my underwater in the other strokes. I think in this race, I was like half of the race was underwaters.
Hey, if you could do half of a race, half of a 400 IM underwater, that's pretty good.
Yeah, but the sad part is when I get up in the backstroke in the butterfly. That's not pretty to look at.
Hey, dude, you still went 401. That's very respectable. That's
Thank you.
really fast. So you've got by your account, you've got underwaters, you've got breaststroke.
Yeah.
So coming up, I mean, what was your first big senior international meet? Do you remember that?
I think the big one was in 2009, the World Championships in Rome.
Okay.
I broke the European record a few weeks before we got there. So it was hyped really bad in Germany. And yeah, it was just a little bit too much. I think I got 12th or 10th place, but it was an incredible experience for me. It was just a little bit too much back then, but it was just amazing.
I mean, that makes it, that seems like it would be a really cool meet to have been at. I have to ask, what suit were you wearing at the time?
I was wearing the Arena X Glide.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. I ripped so many of those.
Yeah, I can imagine those suits were easy to rip, man.
Yeah.
What made it so great for you? What that experience?
I think it was just I really love the pool in Rome, the outside pool. It's really, really nice. And I've never seen so many people cheer for you. It was just amazing. The Italians were going crazy. And I think I also had a few Italian breaststrokers in my heat, so it was so loud. It was really, really, yeah, goosebump feeling, you know.
Oh yeah, that sounds amazing. And you were 19 at that meet, is that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And since then, I mean, you've been to so many international meets. At that time, were you training with the team or were you by yourself then?
I was training in my club in Darmstadt. I was training there from 2001 till 2018, I think. So pretty long time. So I was training there with a normal squad.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what was training with just a normal squad, like you said? Like, I mean, looking back on it, is that something you felt was a good fit at the time?
Yeah, I think so. Because also that, yeah, kept me down to earth, you know, because we were like sometimes 8-10 people per lane. So I wasn't having like a special lane or anything. So you get used to not optimal environment in training. So I always said, when you can swim fast in Darmstadt, you can swim fast anywhere, because the conditions were just not so great.
Those are packed lanes.
Yeah.
Did you train short course a lot? Did you train long course a lot?
I think back then we trained like 6 sessions a week on long course, on 3 on short course. But on short course, you're just able to do like, I don't know, maximum 200 meters straight, because anything longer, I would like start overtaking all of them. So yeah, you need to break up the distances a little bit.
When back then, were you doing a lot of volume? I mean, what would a normal practice be? 5,000 K, 6K, 7K?
I think I've never done a lot of volume. I always start out the year with a little bit more volume. So when we're on training camps. So I think the most I've done in training camp was like 90, 95 kilometers a week. But other than that, I'm not doing too much volume. We're training more like try to keep the quality higher, because also like right now, when I train too much in the water, I get really slow and just like lazy and can't move anymore. So we started to do the longer stuff on the bike now, because it keeps my legs and everything fresh for the water. So I think right now, this and last week, we did like between 35 and 40K.
Okay.
Yeah. But also like, I don't know, 150 kilometers on the bike.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a lot. So how long is a session on the bike for you?
I got one or two shorter sessions. It's more like 1 hour intervals, a little bit higher intensity. And on Saturday, my last session of the week is like an easy, longer aerobic ride. There I just go by feel. At the end of my time off, I went for, I think it was 120 kilometer ride, but most of the time it would be more like 80 to 90.
Dang. How long, like how long does 90K take?
Like 3 hours.
Wow. Is this a stationary bike or is this an actual bike?
When I go for the long rides, it's always outside.
Okay.
Because like 3 hours on the trainer, I couldn't handle it, I think. But like 1 hour, 1.5 hours would be enough for me on the trainer.
Gotcha. Nice. It is where. Go ahead.
Yeah, and for the trainer, I got a pretty good setup. It's right in front of my TV, so I just put on a movie and put on the program, and then it's not too bad.
Yeah, that seems like a good thing. And it seems like a good thing that you're able to go for bike rides. You know, the longer bike rides outside is where you are pretty bike friendly, or are there paths or trails or?
Depends on, most of the way is quite okay, but I think the German car drivers don't like the cyclists so much, so you really need to be careful. And yeah, it's better to stick to bike lanes. But when you go on the road bike and you go between 30 and 40 kilometers per hour, sometimes it's quite dangerous to go on bike paths, because the people don't think that you're so fast. So you really need to be careful. But fortunately, I didn't have any accidents or something like this so far. So everything's good.
That is good. Yeah, that's flying, man. Wow. But that sounds like a really cool form of cross training. And I mean, I think I've seen a lot of athletes who, especially coming off of injuries, you know, they get on the bike and then they just ride, and then their legs are a lot stronger in, you know, a few weeks or a couple months. And it seems like a good cross training for sure.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. And also like 3 hour endurance training on the bike feels like nothing. And when you do like 5 or 10, or if you would do like 3 hours of swimming, it's killing you. So yeah, it's so much easier.
That's awesome. I wouldn't have thought of that, but I think that makes sense, and that's really cool that you can find that balance for sure. So you're training now. You said you're doing, you know, 35 or 40K a week, but you get in 8 or 9 sessions. And so what, you know, my line of thinking is, well, you could do 35 or 40K in, you know, maybe 6 or 7 sessions. What is so important to you about having that number of sessions, really touching the water that many times, I guess, as opposed to just kind of trying to get it in?
Yeah, I think we got 3 key sessions a week, and the rest is just like preparing my body for the key sessions. So yeah, I need the easy session on Monday to be ready on Tuesday evening for the main set. And we skipped the Tuesday morning swimming session and put in a biking session instead, because the swimming made me really tired for the hard session on Tuesday evening. So I'd rather do the 1 hour bike ride in the morning, and then I'm really ready for the hard stuff on the evening. And then the other sessions are like before or after the gym. So they always like stick together and are also important to do together. And on Thursday evening, we got like more of a sprinting practice. And before that, I really like to do like an easy session in the morning just to get in a few miles. Yeah. So everything is building up on each other, you know?
Yeah, it's building up throughout the week, and it really seems like it all has a purpose, right? It's not just get in and swim 6 or 7,000.
And I think if I would skip like one more session and would have to put the kilometers on the other sessions, it would also make me like more tired, because it's a difference if you do like 4 or 5K in one session or like 6 or 7K.
It's very interesting. I really like that philosophy. It seems well thought out, and again, pointed. You know, everything has a purpose, and it's to do it at a really high level. That's cool. So what does a Tuesday PM practice look like for you? What's a hard set that you might do on that Tuesday evening?
A lot of breaststroke normally. Like pretty short warm-up, and then something like, for example, 60-50s breaststroke. The slower ones on 1 minute, the faster ones on 1 minute 30. And the first 16 would be like every fourth is fast, and then 3 easy, 1 fast, 3 easy. Then you got a small break, and then you go 12 on 2 easy, 1 fast. And then you go 8 on 1 easy, 1 fast. And the last 4 are also, all of them are fast. And the easy stuff on long course would be like, I don't know, maybe 33.0. And the fast stuff, hopefully under 30.0. So it's like 3K breaststroke, and the slowest you ever swim is like 33 on the 50. So after a while, it's getting pretty tough.
Wow. What is your stroke count for long course 50s breaststroke like that? I mean, what do you think? How many strokes are you taking, and what are you thinking about?
Depends on the speed. When it's like 200 meter pace, it would be between 14 and 16 strokes, depending on the day. And the 50, if it's like a lot of 50s, I probably start out with 14, and at the end it would be more like 15 or 16. And if it's for times under 30, I think I need more like 18 strokes then. But I always just try to focus that I hit an optimal streamline, at least for a small part of the race, like every stroke streamline. No matter how fast your stroke rate is, you always need to be in the streamline position, because that's the fastest you're going to get in the breaststroke.
Mm-hmm. As you're 30 now, you've been a prolific part of the breaststroking scene for the last decade. As you've aged, has what you focused on in training, what you focused on in your stroke, has that evolved? Maybe just in the last 5 years.
I think my stroke didn't evolve too much. I'm always the kind of guy who plays around with small details in the stroke. It's always, when I go to training today and I do my first 100, and I'm not like 100% happy with it, I try to make like really small changes to see if I can make it somehow a little bit faster. So I'm always playing with my stroke. And in training, it has changed a lot during the last years, because when I was younger, I could basically push myself every session because recovery wasn't an issue. But now I really need to focus on the key sessions. And even if I feel good in the other sessions, like take it a little bit easier, just to make sure that I don't overdo it before the important stuff. Because the end of the week is most of the time is pretty tough for me. So I really need my day off on Sunday.
And that, I mean, That makes sense. Recovery seems very important, especially as you continue to grow, continue to age. Has there been a point in your career where you thought you were going to step away, or have you always just said, I'm enjoying swimming. I'm gonna keep doing it.
Yeah, I always enjoyed it. Even in the years where it wasn't going too well, I always had this feeling that I can do better. And I think as long as I got this feeling that I'm not like at the end of my capabilities, I think I'm going to continue.
So this after this Olympic year, you have no plans of saying, "Oh, okay, that's it."
No, I don't think so. As a joke, I said that I might want to do an Ironman in 2022. So this might be something that I want to try out, but I don't plan on quitting swimming because it's still so much fun for me and I really enjoy it. And yeah, I can't think of a life right now without swimming. So
Yeah. The do you have other interests, hobbies outside of swimming, outside of athletics or physical activity in general?
uh not too many. I think I really like sports, so also like bouldering, climbing, cycling, running not too much because it's just too hard for me, but I really enjoy to be outside and in the sun and everything. But when I don't do sport, I'm a really lazy person, I think. Just lying on the couch watching TV and stuff. So yeah, just taking it easy.
Do you get a lot of sun where you live?
No, not too much.
Okay.
Also, right now it's like really cloudy and no sun at all right now. So
Yeah.
hopefully I can maybe go to some nice sunny place after Christmas to start back training in the sun.
So what okay, before I ask you about training in the future, a couple more questions about your swim story. Do you have a favorite meet that you have been to in your career, one that really stands out as like this was a great experience?
I always like the Mare Nostrum tour here in Europe because it's just like 3 competitions in quite short time together, and I really enjoyed this. I always could like bring my times down from meet to meet, and I really enjoy the pools and the facilities there, and also the Sette Colli in Rome. Just because my first World Championships was in this pool, and it's always such a nice experience to be there. Really nice crowd and always good competition.
Is that meet seems like one that a lot of people will maybe come down for a little bit or really focus on and drop some fast times. Is there one year particular of the Sette Colli where that you really hit it?
I think last year I went like 2:07.9. That was incredible
Okay.
fast. So almost, yeah, as fast as I was at the World Championships. I just really loved the pool and everything. So always hyped to go there.
That's awesome. Uh, when you're coming down for a big meet, a World Championships, a European Championships, an Olympics, do you have certain routines? Maybe you could call them superstitions, but that you follow. Do you have a ritual of all right, this is what I'm going to shave, or this is what I'm going to do when I get into the pool after I shave? Do you have any rituals or pre-race routines like that?
Oh, I don't think so. I always shave the night before my first race, but that's normal for basically every meet where I shave. But other than that, I think I don't like to be in the competition pool too much. I just go there like once or twice before my race, and then I stick to the warm-up pool because I don't like it to always train in the pool where I race. I just like to keep the distance and like keep it special for the race, Just get familiar with the pool and everything, and then just see it for the race.
Have you ever had a race at any meet where you got out and you thought that was the perfect race? This is I really nailed it on this one.
No, it was always like I could have done better, X, Y, Z, whatever. I haven't had like the perfect race so far. It was always like afterwards was talking to my coach and yeah, it was like took the frequency too high on the last 50 or didn't hit one turn perfectly. It was always something.
Always it's a frustrating mindset as an interviewer because I want to hear about that perfect race, but I feel like that's a good mindset to have as an athlete.
Yeah. I think it's like the holy grail. When you hit the perfect race, you're like, okay, I'm done. Bye-bye.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Do you have a favorite race where it's like, okay, this maybe it wasn't perfect, but this I had the most fun, or this is the most meaningful to me so far?
Yeah, in 2016, I wasn't really happy with my performance at the Olympics. And afterwards, I did all the World Cups and everything. And at the end, we had German nationals in Berlin. And I broke the world record in the 200-meter breaststroke. And this was a really, really good race. I was a little bit tired, so it wasn't optimal. But yeah, I hit the walls perfect and was pretty good. So I was really happy with this one.
World record race seems like a good one.
Yeah.
All right, so I don't want to keep you too much longer, but so heading forward, you said maybe you can go somewhere sunny in January. What do you think your plans are, just training wise? Do you have something to train for in the future now? I mean, I know the Olympics are on the horizon, but like you said, there aren't too many meets in Germany right now. So what is your plan in the next few months?
Yeah, I hope that in Europe there will be competitions, hopefully like end of April or something. Normally we go to the Stockholm Open and the Swim Cup in Bergen in Norway. So I hope that by then maybe life is getting a little bit back to normal and we can do some racing. But before that, I don't think I would plan with too many competitions. So maybe we can set up like a small meeting here in Frankfurt or wherever, where we do like a small club competition or something, that we got at least something, because for me it feels like 4 months is such a long time just to train without any competition, because I'm really used to all the racing. Like last year I did the whole Mare Nostrum, the French Open, then the Setekoli. It was like 5 competitions in 2 weeks. In 2016 I did all the World Cups, and I always improved myself over those races, so I really need those. And yeah, but I think the first things where we plan racing would be like April, so just a lot of training till then.
Do you ever have race days in practice, or days where you just do a few really fast efforts?
Normally it's my Saturday session is like this, just a lot of race pace work, but it's just not the same, it just feels like training. So yeah, I just need a competition to really put all the effort in. I'm always good in training, but yeah, just doesn't feel the same.
What is it about racing that you like so much?
Good question. I just love to compete and I hate to lose.
I think that's a good note to end on. Marco, thanks so much for coming on and taking the time out of your day to talk with me. It's been really great.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was really fun.
You've been listening to the SwimSwam podcast. Stay tuned for new episodes every week. You can take SwimSwam podcast on the go by subscribing on your favorite podcast platform. Look for links in the description below, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos as well.